Hi guys, my name's Raz, and today we'll be looking at the quadratic formula. So firstly, let me just say what the quadratic formula is. And it is this bubble here, x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And that works if we have a quadratic in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So if we put the quadratic in descending powers of x's, i.e. the x gets smaller as we go along, then the coefficient of the coefficient of x squared, i.e. the number in front of x squared, is a. The coefficient of x, that is the number in front of x, is b, and then the number on its own is c. Yeah, so that's what these numbers here represent. So if we're trying to solve a quadratic equation, once we've set the equation equal to 0, we can use the formula as so, as long as we've put the quadratic in that form. So let's have a look at that. I've got 3 examples to look at. So first we have 5x squared plus 14x plus 1. So we know that a is going to be 5, b is going to be 14, and c is going to be plus 1. If I write down the formula, x equals minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A equals 5, b equals 14, c equals 1. So what I need to type into the calculator is x equals minus 14 plus or minus the square root of 14 squared minus 4 times 5 times 1 all over 2a. Oh, sorry, an a where a is 5. And I'll get 2 solutions for x. The reason we get 2 solutions is because the quadratic is a horseshoe shape curve, and that can potentially cross the x-axis in 2 points. And what we are finding when we solve the quadratic equation is those 2 values. Yeah? So now let me get the calculator up, and we can pop that into the calculator. So we have fraction button, minus b, plus or minus just means we do plus and then we do minus. So first we do the plus, then we cursor back and turn it into a minus. So I'm going to do plus first, the square root of 14 squared minus 4 times 5 times 1 all over 2 times 5 equals minus 007. And then if we cursor this along, we get a minus sign. And we get our other solution. So minus 2.73. Job done. So the solution to this equation is x equals minus 0.07, comma, x equals minus 2.73. So that's the first example. Let's have a look at the second one. So all I'm going to do in the next 2 examples is play around with the signs. Yes, so first let's make b negative. So how will that affect what we're doing? The quadratic formula is x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So now I have minus 14 plus minus the square root of minus 14 squared minus 4 times 5 times 1 all over 2 times 5. So we need to make sure we type it in the calculator like this, because that is not the same as this. This will tell us minus 196. This will tell us positive 196. We know that when we square a number, it's always positive. So you need to be careful, otherwise it will make your answer wrong. Yeah, and you do not want that, do you? Nah. So now let me get the calculator out. And type that in. So we've got minus 14 plus minus the square root of minus 14 squared minus 4 times 5 times 1 all over 2 times 5. And this time we've got 2.73. So x1 is 2.73. And x2, if we cursor it along, change that plus to a minus, we've got 0.073. Yeah, so the final example, I'm going to make C negative. I've also made B negative, but really I want to just show you the difference we make C negative. So we call the formula x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There you go. Okay, so now we need to sub the numbers in. The difference being we have a negative value of c. So when I sub that in, x equals minus 4 plus or minus the square root of minus 4 squared minus 4 times a times c. Well, you can see here we have a positive number minus what's going to be a negative number. And those two minuses make a plus, exactly. So that will impact on our answer. So if you forget this negative sign, your answer will be totally wrong. So you need to be very careful of that. And then it will be all over 2a. So I'm going to play around with that in this example. First, let's do it correctly and see what values we get for x1 and x2. So if we type it in, we have minus 4 plus minus the square root of minus 4 squared so minus b squared minus 4 times a times c, and c is negative 1 all over 2a, which is 2 times 5. That gives us the first solution is 1. And then when we cursor back and change that plus to a minus, we get the second solution is minus a fifth. So minus 0.2. Well, what would have happened if I'd forgotten the minus sign? We've got math error. Yeah, and the reason that is because if we evaluate the bit under the square roots, we had minus 4 squared minus 4 times 5 times 1, which is 20. So that gives us a negative number. And at GCSE level, we cannot square root a negative number. So you'll always get math error. And if you get that, the chances are you've forgotten the minus sign. To check your working, you'll see probably in your calculator, you've forgotten the minus sign on the 20, which would have the impact of that, because suddenly we're square rooting 36 rather than the negative number. Yeah? So that's probably my tip. If you get a math error, you've probably forgotten the negative sign on the C. Anyway, I've hoped you enjoyed the 3 examples, and I hope that's helped you understand the quadratic formula. See you again soon.